Remember Batwoman? Remember that show? Remember all the talk about its ratings and how every week it was losing people and no one was watching it and it would trend every Sunday? It would trend every Sunday and none of that translated to views. Meaning Twitter artificially boosted the show, which makes a lot of sense when you consider what Twitter was. This is the kind of show that all of the people that worked there would have praised, even though they likely didn't watch it. I don't think anybody that says they were a fan of this show actually watched it. I think it was a lot of people just leaving the TV on and walking away, which is kind of true if you read the reports about how most of the people that watch the CW are people in their elderly years. I think they just had the TV on and fell asleep. But CW is done. It got sold for nothing. In fact, the reason that that deal went through like that is because, I forget the name of the company that it got sold to, they had to absorb the debt. And it turns out there's a lot of debt. A lot of debt. More debt than I thought there was. Because this show lost a ton of money. Or not this show, this network lost a ton of money. Really interesting report out of CBR.com. The CW was losing $2 for every dollar it earned. A new analysis reveals the CW, recently sold by Paramount and Warner Brothers to Nexstar, was losing twice as much money as it was making. Now, this isn't a surprise. I'm sure you're sitting there saying, oh, no, I'm not really shocked when you consider the decisions they made. Some of the worst decisions. They took what could have been a really profitable idea. Think about it, like a DC universe on television, all interconnected. The budget wasn't high, but still for people that like superhero stuff, and there's a lot of them, this was a good idea. But instead of really making this work, they decided to focus on using all these characters to push a message. And all of these CW shows were woke as hell. Some of the wokest content on television. So naturally, people tuned out. No one wanted to watch this shit. There was one good show that's likely going to get canceled because of what's going on with the CW, and that was Superman and Lois. That show was surprisingly pretty good. Didn't feel like a CW show, though. That show's likely canceled, though, because of everything going on. I don't think you're going to see any more shows. Look at that Gotham Knights show that was coming. This disastrous decisions behind that show. Literally taking all of the people from the canceled Batwoman show and moving them to Gotham Knights. Literally failing upwards because Batwoman was an awful show. Speaking of like Batwoman, like, you know what always bothered me when they switched to Ryan Wilder? Like, why didn't they use black eyeshadow for the eye slits on the cowl? Look, it's so bad. Like, you need to put black eyeshadow around the eyes so it doesn't look weird. It's just one small little bad decision on that show, which there were many bad decisions for that show, but that always bothered me. The character herself was awful, too. This is the high point of CW writing. A character who lived in a van and had a plant as a friend. And she's a wild one, so they called her Ryan Wilder. Stupid name, stupid character, stupid show. But that powerhouse of creativity, they were all moved up to Gotham Knights, and you could tell if you watched the trailers and the promos for that show. So let's take a look at this, because it's very interesting. This just shows you this network never had any intentions to make money. This was the ESG network. The CW, home of popular television franchises like Arrowverse, Supernatural, and The Vampire Diaries, was reportedly losing double what it earned prior to its sale in mid-2022. Per The Hollywood Reporter, the analysis of the new owner Nexstar's SEC filings for this quarter in 2021 through 2022 confirmed the CW had a quarterly revenue of about $100 million for an estimated annual total of between $370 million and $405 million, but had annual losses between $300 million and $400 million. What's so bad? Well, the CW has never made a profit since its creation in 2006. That's an important little statement right there. The CW has never made a profit. These figures mean that the network would have started costing almost $2 for every $1 it made for owners Paramount and Warner Discovery. This network is literally the get woke, go broke network. I've asked this question a million times when I was going over the ratings. Like, how are they making money here? Where is the motivation here? There can't be any profits, and it turns out I was right. They weren't making any money. None. Oh, by the way, guess who's coming back? Batwoman's coming back to Flash. This Flash show is in its last season. Never watched it. I haven't watched many of these CW shows because they're all awful. But The Flash is going to have her come back for the final. Imagine that. You're liking this show, which got 9 seasons, and they're going to bring her in to hog the camera and the spotlight for his show. What a joke. I'm sure all you Flash fans out there are excited to have it focus on her ass, and you know it will. 9 seasons just to have your show become a Batwoman send-off. Oh, this is embarrassing, though. So, Nexstar Media Group acquired the network from co-owners Warner Brothers and CBS Studios in August 2022, gaining 75% of the network and $54 million for its trouble. Warner Brothers and CBS were each left with 12.5% ownership in the CW. The network itself never made money for the owners, but its programming was produced by the studios that owned it, who then benefited from international sales and a $1 billion deal made with Netflix in 2010, when both co-owners chose to move their CW programming to in-house streaming services HBO Max and Paramount Plus. The business model reportedly came unsound. I can't believe Netflix paid $1 billion for that bullshit. Well, that kind of explains what they were doing. They were ripping off Netflix. And then when they moved that content to HBO Max and Paramount Plus, you're not getting any outside money for these shows anymore, and that's when the bleeding really started. You couldn't just make the show for Netflix and not give a shit about the quality, not care. That explains why the shows were all about the message, because they didn't give a shit if they made any money on it. But once they depended on it and no outside money came in, it showed how bad this message network really was. So funny stuff. I mean, this is disastrous. This is one of the biggest money pits, I think, in television history, is this CW network. And it's hilarious to me that for every dollar they made, they lost $2. That's awful. Awful, awful, awful business model. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know what you guys think. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed. Hit that notification bell. Check out my Rumble and my Locals, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Make sure to check out my Locals. There's a link in the description. It's a fun community that I'm trying to build over here. If you don't want to support me on YouTube, you can come over here. None of that money goes to YouTube. You also can just come over here for free. But if you are a supporter over here, I do plan on doing an extra live stream once a month and throwing links to the supporters so you can actually come on and have a supporter live stream with me. Also, it's a good place to catch all of my content. You don't have to worry about notifications like YouTube. They'll definitely work over here. So come check out my Locals.